If your job involves making presentations, it could be worthwhile to consider our presenting and storytelling workshop, because rather than just presenting an idea, you can compel people to change using the power of stories. Whether you're making presentations face-to-face or virtually, you need the power of stories.
How do you translate a business strategy into an emotion?
That's what we're here to figure out, right?
So why add stories into your presentations? There's lots of great reasons. They're more memorable, they're more influential, they create a lot more emotional engagement between you and your audience, and there's some great evidence on this. You look at Robert Walker's study where he bought a whole lot of random items, everything from a plastic banana to a ceramic horse's head, and he bought them for $200 and then sold them on eBay for $8,000 just by adding a story. There's also Shark Tank. You think only 60% of the businesses pitching to the sharks won over a stake in their business, but of that 60%, 80% use stories to win. So stories definitely work. Why don't we use more stories? Well, when I ask people in workshops, hey, why don't you use more stories in your presentations? I get 4 reasons, and the Presenting and Storytelling workshop addresses each of those reasons. Let's look at them now.
If you were waiting for the opportune moment, that was it.
So the first reason why you may not be using stories in your presentations is you're not sure where they fit. It comes down to how do you craft a story into your presentation. So we take traditional presentation structure from where the audience is beginning to where you want them to be by the end of the presentation, and we show you where and how to include stories, everywhere from the beginning when you're setting up the presentation to when you're explaining why the presentation is taking place, right through to the summary and the conclusion. We show you every opportunity to include a story.
So you think you got what it takes?
Now, the second reason why you may not be using more stories in your presentations is you're not sure how to find them. It's great to have a structure to know where those stories fit, but how do you find them? Well, once you know what you're looking for, they are remarkably easy to find. We'll show you how to find them from your experience, from your boss's experience, from the experience of your customers or your brand, and also how to find stories in YouTube and podcasts you may listen to, or just from life in general, and how to include those. Now, it's also interesting here that we look at other story tools like metaphors, tools like painting pictures, tools like using a hero's journey in your story, so you can maximize that persuasive outcome from every presentation you make.
Man, we're getting good at this.
The third major question we get asked is, well, how do I deliver stories? Often they're personal stories from your experience. Well, how do I do that? Now, in our Presenting and Storytelling workshop, we show you how to find your authentic delivery style. We use video analysis to show you your style, give you some tools and some exercises so that you can find that, see what it is, and more importantly, just see how well it works and how to set that so that every time you make a presentation, you're delivering authentically and maximizing that outcome.
Good job. Really good job.
Now, the fourth major thing we cover in the workshop is arguably the most important, and that's confidence. When I ask people at the beginning of workshops, hey, what's the most important thing for you? What outcome do you most want by the end of this workshop? The number one thing that comes out is I want to have more confidence in telling stories. So we look at confidence, what the latest thinking is, how to find your confidence, and how to keep it. Because if you're asking people to change, if you're making a presentation or giving an idea or making a recommendation, you're asking them to change. You're asking them to have confidence in you. And unless you are confident and courageous in the way that you make these recommendations, it's just not going to stick. So we show you what that courage and confidence is and how to push that go button every time you get up to speak.
20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery, and I promise you, something great will come of it.
So they're the 4 ways you can add more stories to dramatically improve the impact of every presentation you make. We run workshops, 2-day face-to-face versions, and 60-minute virtual modules if you're presenting online, and we do this for both entry-level and advanced versions, and also do one-on-one coaching for senior executives. If you want to find out more about presenting and storytelling, you can look at peteranthonyconsulting.com. I'll leave you a link at the end of this video. I'd love to talk to you about how you can use stories to maximize the impact of every presentation you make.